In the previous section, we saw the Web Map JSON definition that gets returned as a dictionary when you call the getData method on the item object. We did not have any layers or tables in our web map at the time. We do now, so we're going to revisit that Web Map JSON definition. Open up the revisit Web Map item data properties.py script from the Web Map content folder. Up top, we are importing the JSON module from the standard Python library that will allow us to print out the properties in a more readable fashion. You can see here some of the properties that we can have access to. The operational layers is a list of the layers in the web map, as goes for our tables. Last time we saw this definition, we did not have any operational layers or tables. Operational layers was an empty list, and tables did not exist in the definition. We'll scroll down. We first access ArcGIS Online. We then use the content manager get method and supply in our web map item ID, which I'll paste in now from my notepad, or you can grab from ArcGIS Online. We assign the calling of the get method to a variable called web map item. This is now an item object. As such, we have access to the getData method for an item object. This is going to return the JSON definition of our web map as a Python dictionary. We'll assign that to a variable called web map item data. We then use the JSON and the dumps method to print our definition neatly to screen. Let's run this script. Our script is complete. I'm going to move this panel up a bit so we can see a bit better. And I'll scroll up the top. We have our authoring app property, and we can see that that is the ArcGIS Python API, and the version was 2.4.0. This is how we created the web map. We have seen our base map property before. Our bookmarks list is empty, and we'll see that later on in this course. Initial state defines the extent the web map will open to. We now have our operational layers populated, and is not an empty list that we've seen previously. If we think about our web map, the bottommost layer is a group layer of 4 NPWS layers. Let's head over to ArcGIS Online first before continuing. Here we have our 4 layers in our group, and this is going to be the first entry in the operational layers. On top of our group is going to be the NIAH, and then the county boundaries, and then the PNHA. So as we scroll down through our operational layers, we're going to hit the group first, NIAH, county boundaries, and PHNA, and then we'll see our 2 tables. So I'll head back over to PyScripter. You can see here we have this property layers, and it's its own list. This indicates that it is a group layer. If I start scrolling down through, we should hit the name of our first layer, which is the NHA. And then we're going to hit the PNHA, which we see here. This is still in the group layer. And there'll be 2 more layers there. The SAC or the SPA is next. So we have the SAC, and then we have the SPA as the last layer in our group layer. Once we break out of our group layer, which is this next dictionary here, you can see this first dictionary is our group layer. We're going to have our NIAH locations, and we can see that is correct, followed by our county boundaries, and then the second instance of our PNHA. So you can see how this is structured in the operational layers. Now if we scroll down a bit further, we now have tables. Tables was not in the previous video where we printed the definition to screen, but because we have tables in our web map, it is now present, and we have 2 tables in there. You can see the item ID should differ as these both come from different services. So you can see our first table name and our second table name. They're both named the same. The main point to take from this lesson is that the operational layers is a list of layer definitions. If there's a group layer, the layer definitions are grouped in another list. We'll be looking at the layer definition properties later on in this section. In this video, we revisited the Web Map item data properties and we printed the JSON definition to screen where we saw various properties and values for our web map. Most notably, the operational layers and the tables had been populated because we now have content in our web map.